Good evening, viewers. You're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. We've got two big stories lined up for you. First up, allow me to take you through the headlines. BJP goes all guns blazing against Congress as Congress has sworn to insult Prime Minister's mothers. Congress's justification says an AI video is of a mother educating her son. Siddaramaiah, Chief Minister Karnataka, announces new caste census, claims that the 2015 caste report will not be accepted by the government. Prime Minister Modi to visit Manipur tomorrow for the first time since ethnic violence broke out in the northeastern state. He will lay the foundation stone of projects worth 8,500 crores. India officially gets its 15th Vice President. C.P. Radhakrishnan takes oath as Vice President at Rashtrapati Bhavan. Full emergency was declared at Mumbai airport after SpiceJet's two flights' wheel falls off after takeoff. Plane makes emergency landing. Donald Trump claims the killer of MAGA activist Charlie Kirk has been taken into custody, pushes for death penalty. All right, let's get you the latest news break that is coming in from Nepal. Hami, the Gen Z group, or multiple groups that have come together, and Hami, that has been social activist group that has now put three conditions before Sushila Karki to accept an interim government role. The first condition is the dissolution of the parliament. Sushila refused to take charge of the interim government until the decision to dissolve the parliament is taken. The second condition is the formation of a judicial commission to investigate the suppression of the demonstration on 8th September. The third condition is the formation of a powerful judicial authority to investigate the assets of corrupt leaders and ministers. Only after fulfilling these three conditions that have been put forth by the groups that have been protesting and have given form to the revolution that you see on the streets of Nepal, Sushila Karki will take charge of the interim government. Let's try and get you the latest reactions coming in. My colleague Rohit Singh joining us from Birganj, Nepal. Rohit, will you get us up to speed with the latest coming in, where you have the three conditions that have been put forth by the protesting groups for Sushila Karki to take over as the interim Prime Minister?
Well, let me tell you, Preeti, it's not all over as far as Nepal political crisis is concerned, because now what we have learnt is that before Sushila Karki takes over as the interim Prime Minister of Nepal, she has put three conditions, as you were also mentioning, which is very, very critical, very, very important as far as the future of Nepal is concerned. That she wants that the Parliament should be dissolved. Now, all the political parties in Nepal are against it. They are not in favor of dissolving the Parliament. So, how will a consensus be formed as far as dissolution of
I'll circle back to you on this one. Rohit, just get us up to speed on this. It's not the protesting groups, but these conditions have been put forth by her if she is to take charge as interim Prime Minister. Is that it?
Well, yes, as I mentioned you, Sushila Karki's name has been forwarded as far as the Gen Z is concerned to take over as the interim Prime Minister, but she has put forward many conditions as far as three conditions of, you were also mentioning, and that one of them is that the Sushila Karki said that the interim the Parliament, which is right now in place, should be dissolved. That is one of the conditions that is she has put forward. The second condition is that there should be a judicial inquiry commission that should be set up as far as the incident of violence is concerned and in which almost 50 people have lost their lives in the violent protests that took place over the 2 days in various parts of Nepal. And the third is also regarding the commission to form, judicial commission to be formed to inquire into the illegal assets that have been amassed by the politicians of Nepal. So these are the three conditions, and let me tell you, the political parties of Nepal
they don't against it. But Rohit, before we go into, we move on right now.
Dissolving the parliament.
Has Sushila Karnik's name, is that the front runner right now, if these conditions are of course met?
Well, yes, she is the biggest, she's the front runner as far as the taking over of the, as the interim Prime Minister of Nepal is concerned. Her name has been forwarded by several, you can say, groups of the Gen Z who want that she should take over as the interim Prime Minister of Nepal. Now remains the biggest question, the biggest question remains, Preeti, as far is whether
these
all
three
the
conditions will
political
be
parties
accepted or not.
are in favor of dissolving the parliament or not. That is
right. Okay, Rohit, we're going to come right back to you. So that's the latest news break that's coming in. So all the groups, it's been multiple groups that have come together to give form to the revolution that you see. The government has fallen, and now Sushila Karnik, who's the favorite of these groups to take over as an interim Prime Minister, has laid those three conditions that we just detailed for you. With that, I want to quickly move on to our big debate this evening, and that stems from the state of Bihar. Months ahead of the Bihar elections, the political slugfest in the poll-bound state has turned rather ugly. Bihar Congress shared today an AI-generated video of Prime Minister Modi's mother berating him, scolding him on social media. The BJP is quick to retort. They say this is insulting the Prime Minister's mother again. Well, on the other hand, Congress turns around and says, no, it's not, insulting the Prime Minister's mother. It's the Prime Minister's mother scolding the Prime Minister. But will it have political implications? Has it given emotional edge to the BJP going into the Bihar elections? Here's more.
आज की वोट चोरी डन हो गए. अब जाता हूं सोने.
अरे बेटा, पहले तो तुमने मुझे नोटबंदी की लंबी लाइनों में खड़ा किया. तूने मेरे पैर धोने का रील बनवाया और अब बिहार में मेरे नाम पर राजनीति कर रहे हो. तुम मेरे अपमान के बैनर पोस्टर छपवा रहे हो.
On 10th September, Bihar Congress posted an AI-generated video of Prime Minister Narendra Modi dreaming of his mother. The video shows Prime Minister Modi dreaming about his late mother, Hiraben Modi, who criticizes him over his politics. Within 24 hours, the video became viral with millions of views, starting a political storm. BJP named and shamed the Congress party by pointing out new laws it has stooped to win power. The Saffron Party alleged that the Grand Old Party has become a Galiwadi party instead of Gandhiwadi, and all this is happening at the behest of leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi.
राजनीति का स्तर कितना हल्का हो सकता है, ये आरजेडी, राजद और कांग्रेस ने बता दिया है. जब इस धरती से प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी की मां को गाली जब कोई निकालता है, तो बिहार की जनता मुंह तोड़ जवाब गालीबाज कांग्रेस और राजद को देगी.
राहुल गांधी अब इतना नीचे गिर गए हैं जैसे उनकी नकली मां है. उनको न मां का इज्जत का, अपने मां का इज्जत का ख्याल नहीं है, तो दूसरे की मां को कहां से वो सम्मान करेगी.
Congress rebutted with its own defense, pointing out how the Prime Minister himself uses his mother in every poll campaign.
इसमें बीजेपी को आपत्ति क्या है? इसमें अपमान कहाँ हुआ, किसका हुआ? नसीहत देना माता पिता का कर्तव्य होता है. तो माता पिता का अपमान तो नहीं है अगर वो नसीहत दे रहे हैं. तो नसीहत लेने वाला अगर उसको अपना अपमान मान ले, जो इस केस में नरेंद्र मोदी हैं, तो वो नरेंद्र मोदी का हेडेक है, हमारा नहीं.
Roughly a fortnight ago, on 27th August, during Rahul Gandhi and Tejashwi Yadav's Vote Adhikar Yatra in Darbhanga in Bihar, a Congress worker abused the Prime Minister and his mother. The incident happened after the leaders left the rally. A week later, while addressing women of Bihar virtually, the Prime Minister responded to the abuses hurled at him and his mother decisively.
मेरी उस मां को जिसका राजनीति से कोई लेना देना नहीं, जिसका शरीर भी अब नहीं है, मेरी उस मां को आरजेडी कांग्रेस के मंच से भद्दी भद्दी गालियां दी गई.
NDA's women wing in Bihar called a 5-hour bandh right after this, citing the remarks as an affront to the dignity of women across the state. BJP leaders demanded apologies, while Congress and RJD claimed the abuse came from unknown individuals outside their control.
Well, you have seen how this is not the first time we are seeing some of these statements. We all remember Mani Shankar Ayer's Chai Wala remark, and that actually became one of the turning points. And we have seen how whenever personal remarks are being made, then that's the time when the entire BJP actually stands firmly behind Prime Minister Narendra Modi. It does become a rallying point of sort. We also saw how when there were fingers that were being pointed at Prime Minister Modi saying he has no family of his own, the top leaders of the BJP then made sure that they write Modi Ka Parivar on X. So that is the rallying point that we have seen if we just flip through the pages of history.
Bihar poll bugle is not announced officially, but the battle gets dirtier by the day. With Aishwarya Paliwal, Bureau Report, India Today.
अपमान के बैनर पोस्टर छपवा रहे हो.
It was just about the time when that entire controversy of an alleged Congress worker abusing the Prime Minister after Rahul Gandhi and Tejasvi had left the podium is just about dying down. You have the Congress itself revived the entire controversy concerning the Prime Minister's mother with that AI-generated video. The Congress says what's wrong with it? It's a mother scolding her son. There's nothing wrong. We're not insulting Prime Minister's mother. The BJP once again suggesting this is an out-and-out insult. The question that we take to our panelists, is this a possible self-goal by the Congress somewhere down the line? Has the Congress given an emotional edge to the BJP going into the Bihar elections? Joining us this evening, Satya Prakash Mishra, leader, JDU, Charu Pragya, spokesperson BJP, Dr. Pooja Tripathi, spokesperson Congress, Professor Subodh Mehta, spokesperson RJD. I'd like to begin with Dr. Tripathi on this. Dr. Tripathi, why now? The fact is, you just about managed to move away from the entire controversy of one of your workers abusing the Prime Minister. That's just about died down, still being milked politically where Bihar is concerned. Yet, you turn around and from your own handle this time, once again, bring back the whole conversation regarding the Prime Minister and his mother. Many see this as a self-goal. Many see this as giving the BJP an emotional edge going into Bihar elections.
Stated that
You're on mute. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
It was not an alleged Congress worker. He had no association with either Congress or RJD, and he has been turned out to be a mentally retarded person. And if he's, we are waiting for Bihar Police press conference to give out his credentials, and we want the strictest punishment against it. But coming to the video that was posted, where, which gesture, which word, what abusive, what disrespectful. It was a mother scolding her son. It was a mother, giving voice of wisdom to his son. Because what we saw, what should be actually disrespectful is Pradhan Mantri Modi ne Bihar Bandh ka ahvan kiya. You stop a pregnant woman in labor. Because Bihar Bandh hai and because Pradhan Mantri Modi ne Bihar Bandh ka ahvan kiya. You almost mob gagged disrobed the teacher while she was going to work because Bihar Bandh hua hai Pradhan Mantri Modi ji ke maa ke samman mein. You thrash and you beat up a 90-year-old person to pulp, giving an choicest of maa behan ki galiyan because Bihar Bandh hua hai Modi ji ke maa ke samman mein. This is what and then there's a BJP worker who is being asked by a local reporter and about Bandh and its effect and why it's not being widespread, and he says Sonia Gandhi barbala hai. So that's because Modi ji ki maa ke samman mein Bihar Bandh hua hai. That's disrespectful. That should be questioned by BJP. In the said video, nowhere used, what is abusive? What is when you marginalize a character, when you marginalize somebody? This is a mother scolding her daughter. That stop using her as a political tool and go back to the work. And I don't know why this video has generated so much abuse, so much hatred. Because this is just with all due respect to Modi ji's late mother, we have nowhere abused her. We are nowhere using a derogatory word. We have nowhere character malaligned her. But this is what Bharatiya Janata Party has done when Bihar Bandh was announced in lieu of the respect of.
Okay. Pooja Tripathi, your time is up, but let me ask you this one question when I come back to you, and that is, you've been burnt many a times. Every time you have made it personal with the Prime Minister, it's come back to bite you politically, and we'll play out the entire sequence of events, barb by barb, which was turned around. Every insult was turned around into a political opportunity. So either lessons haven't been learned or this is self-sabotage is a question that many will raise today. I want to cut across to Charu Pragya, spokesperson BJP. Charu Pragya, if you look at this particular video, how does it anywhere down the line disrespect the Prime Minister's mother?
Preeti, good evening. Now, you just heard the rant of the Congress spokesperson completely whitewashing the fact that there was absolutely no need to drag the Honorable PM's late mother into the political discourse in the middle of elections in Bihar. Please tell me what was the need to do so. It was distasteful, it was corrosive, and defending it, in fact, I think is worse. So you went around denying anything to do with the Darbhanga incident, and then now you turn around and amplify that. You amplify the use of the Honorable Prime Minister's mother in your politics. And then you're asking, why is it being discussed? Could you not find anything sensible to talk about? Let's also see the chain of events during the Darbhanga incident. So the abuses were heard on the 27th. Arrest was made on the 29th only and only after there was an outrage on social media and the video went viral. Before that, zero response from the Congress party. It is fine, it is comfortable. हम भी सबको तू और ते और इस तरीके से बोलकर बुलाते हैं, तो let our कार्यकर्तास also follow our lead. That became the problem. And then after that, adding fuel to the fire, there was a person from Madhya Pradesh who belonged to the Bharatiya Janata Party of the same name, Mohammad Rizvi, who was plastered everywhere by the Congress party without any proof, saying, "Arey, ye to BJP ka aadmi tha." When it was proved that he wasn't, and this particular Mohammad Rizvi actually filed a case against the Congress went blank again. So you spent time denying it. Today, you're amplifying it, and there is still zero remorse. See, the point here is that look at the narrative the Congress is trying to put out during these elections. You do B for BD. You're shameless about it, but at least you had the decency at the end of the day to delete that post. I'm using the word decency. At least you deleted it, though I can get into details of why this B for BD is going to stay with them for the rest of their life. This particular post, they're owning it. They're defending it. They're talking about it. I really don't understand what is wrong with the mentality of Congress, and this is not just it. Abuses have been heard at the Honorable Prime Minister. Multiple times.
Ma'am, your time is up. Your time is up. Yes, abuses have been heard, but they've all come back, been turned into political opportunity. But it cuts both ways. It's not that abuses haven't been heard from the side of the BJP or the NDA on the other side as well. I'll come back to you, ma'am. The time is up, and I'll come back to you when your turn comes in. Professor Subodh Mehta from the RJD is in the studio with me. Professor Mehta, your leader Tejasvi says, मैंने video देखा नहीं है. I haven't seen the video. What is the current take of the RJD? Do you think the Congress has somewhere down the line jeopardized even the alliance political position going into a very, very high octane election time right now where the smallest mistakes can cost you?
Look, you have to contextualize everything about the video. Look to the message that the video gives. It is the structural reform, the monetary reform which Honorable Prime Minister has done since 11 years, whether it is a notebandi, whether it is a GST, RERA, or even agricultural reform he was talking about, and the new education policy. Every message is there in that video. But when you look to the history of the video and the politics, especially when you look to the Charlie Chaplin great movie, The Great Dictator, which he talks about Hitler, and Hitler was crying in that movie. And this was happening in 1940. Even Hitler could not, pinpointed it. When you look to the Nehru written a book on Don't Spare Me, Shankar Pillai, the great cartoonist of India, and the same novel or same book was, Ministry of Information has brought a film on that, documentary on that, where Nehru was crying during the 1962 war, when Nehru was trying to have a handshake with the Pakistani premier, he cannot, and he was crying. And when Nehru wanted to have a good relation with the Chinese and the other issues that was shown in that film, Nehru, accepted it. And even when you look to the Harshankar Parsai, the great satirist, he has brought it different, issues of the Indian politics. Not even your channel, India Today, has given an AI video which gives you a great reflection of the message of what the Indian politics is all about. And when you look to Lohia himself, Lohia said to Mrs. Indira Gandhi, Gungi Guria, apart from this, when you look to the legal angle of the video also, when you look to the fundamental right of Article 19, Clause 1, Subclause A, it talks about different medium can be used to express themselves. And this was a message of the Congress party.
Your time is up. Do you agree? Do you think this is a good video?
Look.
Yes or no, sir?
The content of the video, the messaging of the video, which talks about the structural and the monetary reform
So
of
you
the
think
Honorable Prime Minister.
You think it's good during elections? This will help you?
I will ask the BJP counterpart to please have a AI-generated video with good message.
You're saying this will help you?
I don't think
okay,
this is
Satya Prakash Mishra, this is the time, sir. Allow me to... No, your time is up. Satya Prakash Mishra, your 2 minutes start now. The fact is, in the time of elections, it happens both ways. It's happened from the BJP, JDU side as well, where despicable language has been used for the Congress or the Gathbandhan. Well, here the Congress is saying we are not using bad language. We are not insulting anyone. This is our way of projecting the mother of the Prime Minister scolding her son. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, wrong with that. What's wrong with that? Absolutely, there is wrong with that. Why? Because the Congress has fallen so low that it is utilizing scripted dialogues, putting in the mouth of Prime Minister's mother and projecting that, oh, it is a scold of a mother and son. So you should go into the detail of the mother-son relationship of Prime Minister with his mother. What was the relationship? He used to meet his mother on several occasions, used to touch her feet. And one incident I remember, the Prime Minister's mother offered some saved money for the relief fund of the Kashmir flood. And Prime Minister expressed this thing in his own interview. Why this is so low, the Congress has fallen so low? Because Congress has no other issue. This proves clearly that abuses to the, mother of the Prime Minister was conspired and pre-planned because Congress comes out with such a kind of video. Now I am coming to a point that sometime I thought when I was watching that video, maybe there can be some kind of, suggestions. But what Congress utilized? Notebandi. If a Prime Minister mother withdrew some money during Notebandi, if she would not have done that and asked Prime Minister to give the money, the nation would have blamed the Prime Minister, even you facilitated your mother but not the common man.
Okay.
Second point, the conscience of the Congress party is on deathbed. I don't know whether they will awake from that deathbed. I don't know, because it has gone so low to utilize the mother of the Prime Minister for the political purpose. What was the purpose of projecting that video in the by the Bihar Twitter handle of the Congress? To go inside election with this kind of projection to damage the reputation of the Prime Minister and his mother as well. Why Congress is utilizing...
So your time's up. I need to quickly crash out of this debate because we're getting big news coming in from Nepal right now, viewers. And that is that's a bit of news that India Today had first given out. According to sources, Sushila Karki is all set now to take oath at the presidential palace tonight at 8:45 p.m. After the ceremony, she is expected to leave the premises immediately. Reports suggest that the decision comes in line with Gen Z protesters, which are said to have been accepted. Viewers, we began the bulletin that there are 3 demands that have been kept by Sushila Karki, and one of the sticking point in that was the dissolution of the parliament, which most political parties had said that they did not want. It seems all the 3 demands have been accepted, and the front runner to it was Sushila Karki, and Sushila Karki at 8:45 p.m. ending the uncertainty, the political uncertainty which was reigning on the streets of Bihar. Word coming in at 8:45 p.m. This evening, Sushila Karki will be taking oath as the interim Prime Minister of Nepal. Nepal's House of Representatives will be dissolved. This was a big sticking point. President Ramchandra Podel, who had been adamant about dissolving the House of Representatives only after Karki was handed over the leadership of the government, has now backed down. Sushila Karki, was the first Chief Justice, woman Chief Justice of Nepal. She took oath in 2016, if I'm not wrong, and now she will be the first woman Prime Minister, interim at that, where Nepal is concerned. My colleague Amit Bhardwaj is joining us for more. Amit, all decks have been cleared, ending political uncertainty right now. There was an uneasy calm that continued to prevail in Nepal. 8:45 p.m. Sushila Karki will take oath. Understandably, the three demands that she'd put forth have been accepted. The sticking point in that was the first demand, which was the dissolution of the parliament. What's more that you can add?
Preeti, we have also been confirmed by one of the top Gen Z leaders who were part of the deliberations and discussions for formation of this interim government that Sushila Karki is going to be the head of the interim government. At this point in time, we do not know for sure as to whether she'll be called the Prime Minister. I believe there could be a change in the terminology for her as well. She, in most likelihood, will be referred as the head of the interim government because there are constitutional provisions which were becoming roadblock for making her the Prime Minister of the interim government of Nepal. But I believe what we are given an indication that there could be a change in the terminology for her. The interim government is coming in place from 8:45 today in Nepal. So this is a historic moment, one of the defining moments ever since democracy was brought in Nepal, and that revolution happened on 9th of September. This could be a defining moment from Nepal from here on. 8:45, Sushila Karki alone will be taking the oath as the head of the interim government at Sheetal Niwas, which is the presidential complex in Kathmandu, which had also witnessed the fury of the Gen Zs, by the way, on September 9th. Now, whether there will be other ministers in her cabinet, how is she going to run the government? The clarity on that is going to come out only in 24 hours to 48 hours. What we are given to understand that she might be given a bunch of members, teammates who would have expertise, domain expertise as far as the finance department, education, health, foreign affairs departments are concerned. And the prerequisite for this interim government to come in and dissolving the parliament was also because the Gen Z and youth leaders such as Balen Shah have made it pretty clear that the roadmap for the fresh elections in Nepal has to be, chalked out at this point in time. So unless you have the parliament getting dissolved, how do you conduct a fresh elections within the span of 6 months? And that is why this demand was put forward by the Gen Z groups as well as the leaders such as Balen Shah that this particular parliament needs to be dissolved. More so because the September 9th revolution of the Gen Zs was to ensure that the political elite of Nepal is ousted from the power circles, and that is what has been for that there was a prerequisite that this particular parliament needs to be dissolved. Otherwise, even if you have an interim government and Sushila Karki as the Prime Minister, head of that interim government, the same lawmakers will be inside the parliament against whom the entire revolution had happened on September 9th and whom the Gen Zs consider the corrupt political class of Nepal. So that is why they were adamant on this particular demand that the parliament has to be dissolved. That would ensure two things. Number one, the entire political elite of Nepal is ousted from the power circle. Number two, that opens the door for the fresh elections to be conducted in Nepal within 6 months. So the doorway for that has been opened. What I'm given to understand, Sushila Karki is going to take oath at 8:45 inside the Sheetal Niwas, where she was holding parleys and discussions, deliberations until 3:30 a.m. today. And she was called back right in the morning. When I went to her home in the morning, I was told that army came in and requested her to come along so that this chapter can be formally formalized. The framework can be, cleared so that the interim government can come into place. And the bigger question, what about the cabinet? Let's wait for next 24 hours to 48 hours. I believe there could be an domain experts who might come in, kick into the place to help to run the government for next 6 months. Preeti.
All right, so because that's the big news that we are breaking, something that we had broken earlier on in the day as well, and now confirmation coming in. Sushila Karki will be taking oath at 8:45 p.m. this evening. Because Sushila Karki, a fearless figure where Nepal judiciary is concerned. She was the first woman Chief Justice of Nepal. She'd taken oath in 2016. She had a one-year term and had made some very, very decisive judgments there. One of them, which will go down into the hallmarks of Nepal's history, would be to give citizenship rights to the children of Nepalese mothers. So, that was just one of the revolutionary verdicts that Sushila Karki had given. So what we've been given to understand right now, those three demands that had been kept by none other than Sushila Karki, one of those demands, which was a sticking point, especially with the other political parties, was the dissolution of parliament. And it does seem that point has been accepted, clearing the decks for at least immediate political stability. Will Sushila Karki take the appointment of an interim prime minister? As my colleague Amit pointed out, that might not be the case. There might be a different title that she might be given till the time elections are held where Nepal is concerned. But one thing is for sure, that 8:45 this evening, Sushila Karki takes oath as the head of the interim leadership of Nepal. India, of course, would be watching this very closely. Sushila Karki has a distinct India connect. She studied in Banaras, where Banaras Hindu University comes into question. She also, at least her husband, by the nature of her husband, has a checkered past where India is concerned, was involved, viewers, at one point of time in a plane hijack, which is her husband, in a plane hijack which had Bollywood actor Mala Sinha on board. But all of that aside, Sushila Karki has also made, given out a statement that she respects and admires Prime Minister Modi. So vis-a-vis India, India has been closely watching the developments in Nepal. Somewhere down the line, that is also heartening to note that, at least that statement coming in from the next interim head of Nepal. I want to cut across right now to Pankaj Das from Kathmandu. We have multiple reporters tracking the developments in Nepal till now. Of course, after the 48-hour carnage in Nepal, the revolution has made sure that the government has fallen, and now the new government is going to be taking shape, which could be an interim government till fresh parliamentary elections are held. Pankaj, what are you picking up? जो एक डिमांड थी पंकज सुशीला कार्की की कि जो पूरा पार्लियामेंट है वो डिसॉल्व हो उनके ओथ लेने से पहले, क्या ये मांग मान ली गई है?
जी बिल्कुल, ये मांग मान ली गई है। पार्लियामेंट डिसॉल्व का उसके बाद ही सुशीला कोइराला ओथ लेने के लिए तैयार हुई हैं और इस समय बहुत ही जल्द राष्ट्रपति की तरफ से वो पार्लियामेंट डिसॉल्व का नोटिफिकेशन भी जारी हो जाएगा। इसी समय यहाँ पर शपथ ग्रहण की तैयारी हो रही है। उसमें जो है सारे जो वीवीआईपी इस समय सारे सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस के चीफ है उनको बुलाया गया है, स्पीकर को बुलाया गया है, फिर जो नेशनल असेंबली है उसके चेयरमैन को बुलाया गया है, जो इस समय सिटिंग चीफ जस्टिस है उनको भी आने के लिए कहा गया। तो इन सबके वहाँ शीतल निवास राष्ट्रपति भवन पहुंचने में थोड़ा समय लगने के कारण जो है शपथ ग्रहण के समय को 15 मिनट के लिए आगे बढ़ाया गया है। जो 8:45 का टाइम पहले दिया गया था वो 9 बजे शपथ ग्रहण उनका हो रहा है। बहुत ही सीमित लोगों के साथ वहाँ पे सुशीला कार्की का शपथ ग्रहण होगा। उसके तुरंत बाद वो जाके जो सिंह दरबार में आज उनके लिए ऑफिस तैयार किया गया वहाँ पर वो कार्यभार संभालेगी। इसी बीच में वहाँ पे कुछ मंत्रियों के नाम को लेकर भी कौन लोग मंत्री होंगे इसको लेकर भी चर्चा चल रही है इस समय।
तो कौन लोग मंत्री होंगे जो इंटरिम कैबिनेट होगा? सबसे पहले पंकज, क्या सुशीला कार्की जब ओथ लेंगी प्राइम मिनिस्टर के तौर पर ओथ लेंगी या हेड ऑफ नेपाल इंटरिम गवर्नमेंट के नाम पर ओथ लेंगी? जिस कैबिनेट की आप बात कर रहे हैं, क्या उसके सदस्य आज ओथ लेंगे? क्या उसके सदस्य, क्योंकि बहुत सारे जो ग्रुप्स हैं वो इस रेवोल्यूशन में जुटे थे, जो नेपाल की रेवोल्यूशन में जुटे थे, क्या उनमें से जो जेन जी कहला रहा है, अभी जेन जी रेवोल्यूशन कहला रही है, उनमें से कोई इस मंत्रिमंडल का पार्ट होंगे?
ये जो हमारे सूत्र बता रहे हैं वहां पे उनको जो है इस समय इंटरिम गवर्नमेंट का जो है चेयरपर्सन कहा जाएगा, क्योंकि नेपाल में ये प्रैक्टिस एक बार पहले भी हो चुका है, तो वही शब्द जो है प्रेसिडेंट के जो अभी नोटिफिकेशन निकलेगा उसमें वो वही शब्द होने वाला है। और दूसरी बात जो मंत्रियों की बात है उनमें से एक कुलमान घिसिंग जिनका नाम चल रहा था चेयरमैन के लिए भी, जो इंटरिम गवर्नमेंट को हेड करने के लिए, उनके नाम पर लगभग सहमति बन गई है, जो हमारे सूत्र बता रहे हैं। कुलमान घिसिंग को कोई महत्वपूर्ण मंत्रालय दिया जा सकता है। इसी तरह जो ओम प्रकाश अरियाल इस समय सुशीला कार्की के साथ वहीं प्रेसिडेंट हाउस में मौजूद हैं, उनको भी, वो एक बहुत फेमस लॉयर हैं यहाँ पर नेपाल में, उनको भी अपने कैबिनेट में सुशीला कार्की जरूर लेंगी, ऐसा वहाँ के जो हमारे सोर्सेज हैं उनका कहना है। दूसरा, जनजी के तरफ से जो हामी नेपाली ग्रुप है, उनके जो अभी प्रेसिडेंट हैं सुदन गुरुङ, जो इस सबको लीड कर रहे थे, उनके नाम की काफी चर्चा है। हालांकि उन्होंने पब्लिकली ये कहा हुआ है कि मैं कोई पोस्ट नहीं लूंगा। जब जिस दिन ये प्रोटेस्ट 8 सितंबर को हो रहा था, उस दिन उन्होंने पब्लिकली ये कहा था, और ये सोशल मीडिया पर बहुत वीडियो है उनका, कि वो मैं कोई पोस्ट नहीं लूंगा, लेकिन उनके नाम की चर्चा काफी है।
All right, viewers, I also want to give you an understanding. Sushila Karki comes in from Biratnagar, which is relatively the plains of Nepal. There has always been a tug and push between the hills and the plains, where political clout mostly being concentrated in the hills. This is also a departure of that if Sushila Karki takes oath as the interim prime minister or the interim head of government. Once again, to give our viewers the latest that is coming in, Gen Z's choice, Sushila Karki will be the head of Nepal, be it in the form of a prime minister or head of the interim government, till fresh parliamentary elections are called under her watch. Because there is going to be a cabinet that would be taking oath as well. What would be the selection of the cabinet? But one thing is for sure, the sheer reason that this is happening with the kind of immediacy and urgency is to immediately stem the political instability that has gripped the neighboring country of Nepal over the last 4 or 5 days. Even though after 48 hours of abject anarchy and carnage on the streets of Nepal, there was an uneasy calm. The army had taken stock of the situation. Mind you, 51 people have been killed in this revolution, and unfortunately there have been Indian nationals in that count of 51 as well. I want to cut across right now to Darshan Parjuli from Kathmandu. He's a journalist. Darshan, thank you for joining us. Darshan, how do you view the latest developments that are happening, and as quickly as that they are happening? One thing which was a sticking demand, and that was there was no consensus being reached, was Sushila Karki asking for the dissolution of parliament. That demand duly been accepted. What can we expect now?
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, this is a very historical moment for Nepal, because Nepal has, appointed the first lady prime minister. Like looking at past 3 days that's going on in Nepal. Now finally the protesters who were against corruption were demanding the resolvement of the parliament, and finally the army chief and president of Nepal has decided to appoint Sushila Karki as a voice of this movement. And looking at the history of her background on the corruption stand that she have taken in the past, and I think it's a historical moment that the process which it happened with a whole youth united could bring the whole system down. And now sees the voice of Genji, sees the youth, and here the protesters and other stakeholders in this are really excited to welcome her as a prime minister and as their representative, who would bring a lot of changes that these young aspirants, these young people in Nepal are looking forward. And definitely she would also bring some names, some like team members within her team, so that she could lead forward at 9 p.m. today. The whole ceremony is, planned for. And as we talk, things are, more unfolding.
All right, so this would be the turning point in history where Nepal is concerned. But Darshan, all right, we're getting more news break coming in. Just stay with us, Darshan. Latest news break also coming in. Kulman Jising is being considered for a ministerial post. He was one of the contenders for taking over as the head of the interim government. And he might now be one of the ministers as well. Lots of information coming in. Darshan, I want to bring you back in because in Nepal, this is clearly a huge shift and change. There's always been a pull and push where it comes down to the hills and the plains. Sushila Karki comes in from Biratnagar, which is the plains, along with being what she will be, the first Prime Minister, if that title is given to her, of Nepal, who's a woman. She was also the first woman Chief Minister, a woman Chief Justice of Nepal. And her coming in from the plains will also be a first for Nepal, Darshan, isn't it?
That's correct, exactly. So she was the first lady Chief Justice, who led the judiciary. And also, we should not forget, why this whole generation were in favor of Sushila Karki, because in the past, she have done some wonderful, work for the, demands that youths now are creating. Like, for example, she have, like work against some of the corruption cases, like Sudan Ghotala Kanda, which is the big corruption case, was in Nepal. And of course, there are so many other names that coming up. And for this, landing, because it took, if we look at the timeline, it took, few hours, to decide, to bring this news. It was a lot of uncertainty during that time that, every one of us were going through, and finally it's happening. I think she would definitely represent, young Gen Z and these, aspirations of whole corruption and the, system that these few, political parties have, like.
Right, all right. So Sushila Karki's viewers, just to give our viewers perspective, was the #1 choice for, for the lack of a better, name, the Gen Z group. Of course, they were protesting under the banner of Gen Z, but it wasn't just a Gen Z protest. This was a revolution now, unfortunately, written by the blood of 51 people. But this is also a pivotal, marquee moment for Nepal. Will go down in the annals of Nepal's political history, of a huge shift that has taken place. One we saw in 2008, and then, of course, now that we see now. Sushila Karki, with her judicial legacy, has put her bang in the middle of the political upheaval that we saw over the course of the next 3 days, and given her the writ to write the new chapter for the country of Nepal. She will take oath at 8:45 or 9 p.m. Tonight. She was the first Chief Justice, woman's Chief Justice of Nepal, and she will be sworn in this evening as the first woman Prime Minister of Nepal. She will be the one, along with her cabinet, a number of people across the spectrum who took part in this revolution in Nepal will be in her cabinet. What we are going to see and witness till the time parliamentary elections take place under this interim government will be a completely different shift to what Nepal has been used to, something that was put forth and penned by the youth of Nepal. Sushila Karki, the first woman Prime Minister of Nepal to take oath at 9 p.m. this evening. Okay, and I really can't let you go without promoting my weekend podcast that drops this Saturday. Our guest on Unpolitics this evening was Nishikant Dubey. And what really interesting is, viewers, he spoke about a lot of things. One of the most controversial of MPs. We're going to play out a small excerpt of that podcast where he spoke of being very close to, or if he was very close to Home Minister Amit Shah. Also, if you remember that contentious election of a club in Delhi, which was BJP versus BJP, Rajiv Pratap Rudy versus Dr. Sanjeev Balyan, which many thought was basically shadow fought by Mr. Nishikant Dubey. Rajiv Pratap Rudy came out after that and said that Nishikant Dubey is misusing Amit Shah's name as well as running a parallel government inside Parliament.
पहले तो चलिए बाकी सब छोड़िए, एक चीज़ बताइए, आप अमित शाह के बहुत खास हैं, ये कहा जाता है, सही है?
इस पार्टी में कोई किसी का खास नहीं है, वो हमारे नेता हैं और नेता के प्रति जो है हमारा सम्मान। आज यदि पार्टी इतनी बड़ी है तो पार्टी के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष के नाते 2014 से लेकर 2019 तक उन्होंने मोदी जी के नेतृत्व के साथ जिस तरह से पार्टी को बढ़ाया, वो किसी के लिए भी जो है सम्मान का कारक होता है। तो अमित शाह जी कोई व्यक्ति के नाते मेरे सम्मानित नहीं है, अमित शाह जी ने पार्टी के लिए किया है, क्योंकि हमारी पार्टी है। आपको मतलब जो मैंने कहा उस हिसाब से आप समझ सकते हैं कि मेरे खून में भारतीय जनता पार्टी और आरएसएस है, तो खून का रिश्ता है अमित शाह जी से। उन्होंने इस पार्टी को जिस तरह से बढ़ाया है 2014 से लेकर 19 तक राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष के तौर पर, तो हमारे जैसे सभी कार्यकर्ता उनको जो है सम्मान करते होंगे। तो इसीलिए अमित शाह जी से अब खास हैं या नहीं है वो तो अमित शाह जी इसका जवाब देंगे, लेकिन मेरे लिए वो हमेशा सम्मानित है और हमेशा सम्मानित रहेंगे, क्योंकि आज यदि पार्टी इतनी मजबूत है तो उसमें अमित शाह जी का बड़ा योगदान है। प्रधानमंत्री के नेतृत्व को उन्होंने ठीक ढंग से जो है नीचे ग्रास रूट तक पहुँचाया।
तो आपको नहीं लगता कि आप उनके खास हैं? वो वही बताएंगे? ये
वही बताएंगे, मतलब कौन किसका खास है। मतलब मेरे और उनके बीच में जितना जमीन आसमान का फर्क है, वो इस देश के आज यदि 2, 4, 5 बड़े नेता हैं तो उसमें से एक बड़े नेता हैं, तो वो तय करेंगे ना। बड़ा आदमी तय करता है कि रिश्ता जो है उनका किसके साथ कैसा है, छोटा आदमी थोड़े तय करता है। और मैं अपने आप को हमेशा कार्यकर्ता मानता हूं।
राजीव प्रताप रूडी जी ने जो बयान अभी दिया है कि निशिकांत दुबे जी एक पार्लियामेंट में ही अपनी सरकार चलाते हैं और वो आपकी सरकार में शामिल होना नहीं चाहते और अमित शाह जी का नाम यूज करते हैं।
राजीव प्रताप रूडी साहब जो है वो मेरे उम्र में बड़े हैं, मेरे से सीनियर हैं, मेरे लिए हमेशा सम्मानित है। राजीव प्रताप रूडी जी इस पार्टी में बाहर से आए, मेरे लिए पार्टी मेरे खून की पार्टी है। उन्होंने जो कुछ भी कहा उनके प्रति मेरा सम्मान और भी बढ़ा है कि उन्होंने, मैं जो दिन रात मेहनत करता हूं पार्लियामेंट में, उसको उन्होंने एंडोर्स किया कि मैं पार्लियामेंट में कुछ, जैसे अभी वाइस प्रेसिडेंट के लिए वर्कशॉप जो हुआ
जी,
उसमें 6 ग्रुप बने, अलग अलग ग्रुप, संसदीय कार्य कैसे होता है, संसदीय समिति कैसे होती है। 6 ग्रुप में एक चर्चा पार्टी की तरफ से हुई और सभी सांसदों को बताया गया कि उस पार्लियामेंट्री फोरम का किस तरह से पार्लियामेंटेरियन होना चाहिए। वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी की तरफ से एक ही है, वो निशिकांत दुबे है। ये ऑफिशियल आप किसी एमपी से पूछ लीजिएगा कि अभी जो हुआ सभी सांसदों को जो वर्कशॉप दिया गया, और दूसरे अपोजिशन में जो है वो एनके प्रेमचंद्रन है। एनके प्रेमचंद्रन और निशिकांत दुबे जो 2 ऐसे वक्त हैं, आदमी हैं, और खासकर भारतीय जनता पार्टी की तरफ से, जिनको कि संसदीय कार्य प्रणाली के बारे में नॉलेज है और कैसे इफेक्टिव पार्लियामेंटेरियन होना चाहिए, ये इन दोनों से सीखना चाहिए और अपने पार्टी में निशिकांत दुबे से सीखना चाहिए। तो ये हमेशा सौभाग्य की बात है और इसी बात को जो है राजीव प्रताप रूडी साहब ने जो है बताया है। इसके अलावा जो कंट्रोवर्सी है, मैं इतना ही कह सकता हूं कि अच्छे को बुरा साबित करना दुनिया की पुरानी आदत है।
Our next guest for Run Politics, someone who is one of the most controversial member of parliaments.
एक चीज बताइए, आप अमित शाह के बहुत खास हैं, ये कहा जाता है, सही है? निशिकांत दुबे जी के पास कोई कैबिनेट पोस्ट नहीं है पर पोर्टफोलियो है उनके पास, गांधी, सही है?
प्रियंका गांधी जी किसी को नमस्ते करें ना करें पार्लियामेंट में, मुझे नमस्ते जरूर करती हैं और मैं उस नमस्ते का जवाब जरूर देता हूं।
कि निशिकांत दुबे जी की इमेज ऐसी क्रिएट हो गई है कि वो महिलाओं की रिस्पेक्ट नहीं करते। एक पार्लियामेंटेरियन की बात करते हैं, उन्होंने भी बोला कि आपकी डिग्री फेक है। राजीव प्रताप रूडी जी ने जो बयान अभी दिया है कि निशिकांत दुबे जी पार्लियामेंट में ही अपनी सरकार चलाते हैं और वो आपकी सरकार में शामिल होना नहीं चाहते और अमित शाह जी का नाम यूज करते हैं।